Okay, so seems like this raise hand functionality is still not stable. It is giving the problems. So, like Muhammad Arafat has raised his hands, and let me try to unmute and let's see. No, I'm not able to unmute him. Maybe because of the internet speed, or maybe some other reason it could be possibly. But as of now, this functionality doesn't seem working. This is a very new functionality they have added. So, well, okay, leave it. Uh, so let's begin. Shall we start? We have in total 57 participants as of now. Okay. So the first question is that whether you guys have tried that JDBC connection code on your machines. How many of you have tried the JDBC connection code? Please acknowledge in the chat box. Okay. Those who have not tried, I don't know why, because I have shared the code with you. I have created a separate Tomcat server is not required, my dear. Tomcat server is not required in this case. So this is JDBC. Unless and until you move to a web app, Tomcat server is not required. You need MySQL server. You need a simple. If you just create a simple Java project, unless and until you want to make a web application connect to database, then only you will require Tomcat server. So forget about Tomcat server. Just remove it if you want to try the JDBC code. Yeah, you can switch to the Java perspective. I will show you. I will show you just now. See, this is basically your code. There is a Java EE perspective. You can switch to Java perspective, and the project that you will create in this case is a simple Java project that you used to create earlier in your previous semesters. So you have this program which has got the main method. Test connection class is having the main method, and all I need to do is to run this program not on web server but simply just running it on JVM. It will work. See, I'm getting the results. So typically, just for the JDBC, for experimenting with JDBC, you won't require the web container or any kind of server as such. But yes, if you want to have the same code running from your web application, then of course you will require a container in that case. So see, either you can use command line, or better try to ask questions in the doubt section, so that it could be separately distinguished from the general discussions. So if you were, as of now I'm answering, if you require a command line, you can either use the command line client for it, or you can use this workbench, MySQL workbench. MySQL workbench is much easier. I will show you a few features of it. It's much easier to it has got lots of functionalities. So in fact this will also help you in your projects as well. If you're doing any projects, then this is going to be drastically helping you. You will find it a very good tool. There are many professional tools as well available, even for MySQL and other databases. This is of course free. So if workbench is working, then it's a great thing. Maybe that your command line that particular piece of software is not installed properly, or maybe that there could be some issues, or you might not be in a position to understand how to work with command line. So there could be different things. Go for command line only in the case when you have got machines like where you see any kind of problem. Mostly people with the Mac machine, I see they see the problem using workbenches. So your port 3306 is occupied. The only case as I could understand is that port 3306, which is the default port for MySQL, could be occupied If you have installed some server like LAMP server which contains PHP, and this LAMP server is running on the background, okay, so in this case this port number will be occupied. So either you can switch off that server, or what you can do is you can simply go for the uh, 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 get into the machine, and you can change the port number of MySQL server over there. So this is what you can do. We will try to figure out where from where we can change the server. Probably we can do that by creating a new connection. Uh, Connect to database. Okay, yeah, here. So you can see a port number 3306 over here. You can change the port number over here, and then just like this local instance MySQL 80, this connection is appearing on the screen, a separate connection will appear by on that particular port. Okay, so this is how you can change the port in case. Otherwise, the better thing is that you switch off that LAMP server, you go to the procedure and kill that procedure, or you can use the console of uh, your LAMP server to basically have a control of different elements into it. There is, you can see that container running, you can see the database running, and other services running. You can just use that console, administrative console, to shut down the database for some time, and then restart again. So that is possible. Okay, just hold on, guys. Hello. Is someone logged in with the ID of Hamid Ansari? Is Hamid Ansari? Just ask on the WhatsApp, or just some of you please call him. Is he logged in? Yeah, of course. Those who have not changed the password, I have told you to change your password. So at least inform Hamid Ansari that he needs to change his password, uh, and everyone, in fact, as soon as possible. Just click on the forget password and change your password, because there are some idiots among us who will keep on doing such things. And we have tried to communicate this to the upgrade team, and they are looking for any ways to figure out whether their IP address could be traced back, and if such thing happens, they will bear the burn in that case. So till then we have to just have some better ways of handling such kind of people. uh, I cannot see this ID over here. There has to be something to search the ID, so that I should be in a position to uh, get that participant, and there should be something to block the person. See, incognito doesn't basically hide your IP address from your service provider. So things are evolving. Many universities are facing such issues. DU has also seen a lot of such problems. So things will evolve, and eventually people will come up with solutions so that the people will be traced out. There is no smartness. This is, you know, I would say, a kind of crime. So, shall we begin with the lecture? So, those who have not tried the code, just do one thing. Please try it as soon as possible, and keep the code with you, because very soon I am going to ask you to share your specific screens with me on some other platform, and we are going to conduct some Viva to assess you, because probably I don't know how the assessment will be done. If the universities remain closed, we will have to do it online. So in that case, I will be talking to each one of you one by one, sharing your laptops, and you have to learn by that time very quickly, and because both the batches are two large batches. So in whatever limited time we communicate, you have to uh, give the answers of the questions, and so that on the basis of that we can maybe on basis of that we are going to judge it. So directions are yet to come, but this is one possibility that I see. Am I audible? Okay. So let's move on with the code. So the code that we were looking at was this particular class test connection, and we have seen in the test connection we have added the imports, then we have added the MySQL connector in Java build path, and then basically you can see that most of the entities that are coming from java.sql package, they are actually interfaces, apart from driver manager and exception, SQL exception. Apart from driver manager, SQL exception, most of them things like connection, result set, as well as statement, they all are basically your interfaces. And the import, okay, I don't require this, because this was just for the purpose of making you understand that this is the way to basically load a class statically. I have just written the statement, otherwise you are doing the same thing over here. You have to remember that you have to use this new driver class name, com.mysql.cj, cj is important, .jdbc.driver, because in most of the earlier books you will see, in earlier books and the tutorials, even the new books and tutorials, they are not into the print. the driver classes that they will mention is simply com.mysql.jdbc.driver. That is the driver class they have mentioned, but that is deprecated. In fact, this newer version of MySQL Server has shown me the deprecated message. The earlier version of the MySQL Server, which has been released a year back, that didn't even allow to run this driver. So probably people were facing difficulty, so they choose to basically allow the backward compatibility. So always make sure that you are using this driver. So a deprecated thing is something which should not be used. Something has replaced that deprecated API. Okay. So one thing is for sure, this class name, class.for name, this particular method does two things. One is inherently the for name method just loads the driver dynamically, and while loading the driver dynamically, this driver class has got a static method that basically creates an instance of its own. And because driver manager is a class, so it passes its instance to the driver manager class to get registered. So the static block is basically which runs while you load a driver, or when the driver is loaded by the class loader. So the first thing that happens is the static block is executed even before the object is created. We have not yet created the object anywhere. So in fact, the object will be created by the driver manager itself. You will just call the driver manager get connection method in the next line. So the driver manager is going to create the object, and that object will be maintained by the driver manager. Maybe it can create just one object or a pool of objects, and pool of objects of driver, and then those pool of objects or the specific one single object could be keep on sharing between different users or different threads that you execute. So the first line was technically it is called as registering the driver, but basically the method is meant just to upload the driver class dynamically by providing its fully qualified name. And because this fully qualified name is the package name along with the driver class that is available in the connector library, so it goes and search for it in the build path and then loads it dynamically, and then finally registered with the driver manager class. So driver manager class is the person who is going to manage the connection from the end of your code, and the driver is the one which is standing on the side of the MySQL server, so which is going to interact with the MySQL server. So driver manager will be taking the responsibility of dealing with the driver on your behalf, on the behalf of your code, and the driver is something which is taking the responsibility of dealing with the server, because that MySQL server could be written in any possible languages, maybe C++, C, I don't know what. So they may have been using the native code, many other things as well. So the driver class is the Java class, but behind the driver class whatever is hidden, that we don't know. So driver class is going to interact with the database server. So the second step is getting the connection or creating the connection. Normally if you want to create a connection, you should use the driver class, but because the driver class is something which must be controlled by the driver manager, so driver manager uses this driver class to create a connection. So driver manager, when you call driver manager to get connection, this get connection method, if you see, it is returning a connection object. It is returning a connection object, and the variable con is basically of the type of connection which is initially pointing to null, right? So the connection object which is created with this information that you pass in the get connection method, that connection object is created. Even when you try to log in with the MySQL Workbench, you were needed to provide the certain information. When you try to create a new connection object, you need to provide the port number, you needed to provide the database, you needed to provide basically the username and the password, all those details, right? So even the IP address of the machine. So similarly, when you want to create a connection from the code itself, you have to repeat the same thing, and you have to tell that you are trying to attempt a connection using JDBC, right? That is Java database connectivity, and you want to connect to MySQL, okay? And then the machine is localhost, that is the same machine. The port number that the machine, the MySQL server is listening is 3306. Then the database is Jamia Hamdard, and the username is root, and the password is admin. Okay, guys. Now, these two lines will change if you try to connect for any other database, say for example Oracle database. So these two lines will change. What will be changing is, see, username and password and the name of the databases are particularly of your choice. You have created the database, you have created a user, and you have created a password. So this is something which is under your control. But apart from the machine on which it is hosted, the port number, if it is default, it will be different for Oracle. Otherwise, if you have changed, it's up to you. By default, the Oracle will have a different port, right? This syntax JDBC : MySQL, this will change, right? Similarly, the name of the driver class, this fully qualified name of the driver class for Oracle will also change, and so on for each and every server that you wish to use. Let me see if there is any question. Is it this necessary to use the package CJ? Mariam Nadeem. Mariam, as I told you that if you use the package driver class without this CJ in between, yes, that is backward compatible and it will accept. But when you run the program, you will always see the basically, this. If I just remove it, you will see this warning coming over here that says loading class com.mysql jdbc.driver. This is deprecated. The new driver class, it is also telling you that the new driver class is this. So maybe because of the performance reasons or some other reasons, they have not now choose to replace this driver class with the new driver class, right? So it is appropriate or suggested to use this driver class instead of the old one. Still, you will see in most of the books and tutorials the old code is keep on circulating and people have not updated it, but the server itself is giving you the hint. So just change it to CJ dot JDBC. Then the other question, is driver manager different from different databases like PostgreSQL? No, driver manager is a concrete class. Driver manager is a concrete class, and as you can see, the implementation of the driver manager is provided by java.sql. It's in the java.sql package. So this comes directly from Java. So because it is representing your side of the code, and the driver class is representing the database. So the driver class must come from the database vendor, and the driver manager must come from the Java vendors. So driver manager is something which is already given to us. It is not by the database vendors. Let's try to Google and try to figure out what could be the difference possible if we try to connect using Oracle database instead of MySQL databases. Just let me open a browser and let me find out. I will simply type Java code example to connect Oracle JDBC. ठीक है. Java database contributed to Oracle. Okay. And see, in the first itself, you can see the driver name is changed to oracle.jdbc.driver.oracle-driver. So if you need to get your connection with the Oracle, the first thing that you will need to replace is basically this driver class. I will copy it from here till here, and I could go to my code and basically replace this name, the name of the driver class. Right? So in the case of Oracle, the name of the driver class changes, and this class will be available in the library of Oracle. That is the connector of Oracle. Just hold on. And and the other thing that we need to change is the connection URL. So here you go, this is the connection URL. JDBC is the protocol, as in the case of MySQL. Then you have got the Oracle instead of MySQL. Then you replace it with the word thin. This indicates the driver nature of the driver is thin. There are different types of drivers. At localhost, so the syntax is slightly changed. The default port number is 1521, and then XE is the name of the database. XE is the name of the database. This is in your control. You know what database is you want to use. Just like you have the root as the default username, there is a system as the default username. And just like you give your password for the root user while installation, similarly you have to give the password for the system of Oracle server at the time of installation. So this is the only thing that I need to change. So for example, I want to keep the same database, and just I want to change the connection URL. All I will do is take this piece of code till 1521. I have to copy it till 1521 because database name is already I want to use the same name what I have used in my MySQL. So I will go till here. Instead of slash it uses column 1521, and then maybe again a column. Okay, we have to use this syntax. So this is how you will connect to a Oracle database. Is that okay? Similarly, you can search for other databases like Postgres database and try to figure out how a Postgres database could be installed and how that could be connected, or maybe some other database that you like. So these are the only two changes that you will need to do from your JDBC side of your Java code to basically create a connection object, and you will be done. Now let me go back to my previous code. I am going to change everything. Control or so I've changed the things to normal for MySQL database. Now get connection method is going to return a connection object, and this con variable is actually a instance of connection object with a variable of connection object which is initially pointing to null. Now when it gets the connection object with this configuration set, it's ready to create a connection and basically execute your queries. So the next step after getting the connection or creating the connection is create the statement object. So now you have got the connection object. On the connection object you can say con.create statement. So this create statement is going to create a statement for you, and the return type, as you can see, is of the type class statement. So statement stmt. Stmt is the name of the variable. So this is going to point to a new statement. Now the statement is the one on which you execute a query. So you call a stmt, the variable, the reference variable which is pointing to a statement object, and you call the execute query method, and you pass a query inside it. Select star from student. Okay. So there is a Jamia Hamza table, and this table has got Jamia Hamza database, and this database has got students table. So I want to select everything which is in the students table. So if I go to MySQL workbench, you will see the Jamia Hamza table is here, and the students Jamia Hamza database is here, and the students table is here. And if I show you the structure of the students table, you will be seeing that there are number of fields. There is a serial number of the integer type, there is the enrollment number, varchar, name varchar, age integer, course varchar, and then semester varchar. So in total there are six columns or 6 fields. But in our code, when you call this statement select star from database, so all the rows, that means if you try to view the database, you have to find the select query from either your command line console program or from your workbench. So select star from Jamia Hamza dot student. This is the same query that we have written in our program, and it is returning me the 7 rows which are as of now in the database with different values, and each row has got 6 fields, the value populated for 6 fields. But in our program, although we get all the 7 rows, we choose to print only the 2 fields, the field number 1 and the field number 2. Okay. So field number 1 is basically serial number. The serial number is of type integer. I should have use int over here, and serial number 2 is of the type string. Serial number 1 is basically your serial number, and serial number index number 1 is serial number, index number 2 is enrollment number. So this is basically processing the result. This is typically not discussed as one of the steps, because that's something up to you whether you want to process the result or you want to just go ahead or whatever you do. But once you get the result set, you will of course like to do something with it. So once you have executed the query, you have processed the result, you have everything written into the try and the catch block. So as you can see, the SQL exception is there, and the exception is there because exception is the parent class of SQL exception. SQL exception is a checked exception, so that's why we need to have a try and catch block. And because as the rules say, you cannot have exception before the SQL exception. That means you cannot put exception here instead of SQL exception and put the SQL exception, swipe the SQL exception in the catch block of the exception, because in that case the parent class exception is going to catch all the incoming exceptions, and the next code, which is if I replace it by SQL exception, that will be unreachable, and your basically compiler is smart enough to detect it and give you a compilation error. Your code won't compile. So that's the basic of core Java exception handling mechanism. Then there is a finally block, and inside the finally block I have call the connection dot close. So I am closing the connection. So once the connection is closed, the statement is closed automatically, because the statement is created from the connection, right? So once the connection is closed, statement is closed. Result set, because it's specifically from the statement as a result of the firing of a query from the statement object. This also we can assume that when the program goes, it's released, and that is basically is not holding your memory. So whenever the garbage collector routine runs, it will go. Otherwise, the right way was you should first close in the same order. That means you should close result set first, rs.close. This was the right way. Then you must close the statement stmt dot close, and then you must go for connection dot close. I am getting the error because these statements. Okay, can someone tell me why I am getting this compilation error? RS cannot be resolved, STMT cannot be resolved. Can someone type in the chat box why I am getting this error? Here is the code. Okay, Rajiv says RS in the previous try block. So what he says is correct. The scope of RS as well as STMT, that is statement, they are both within the try and the catch block, because you can see statement STMT, this is declared inside the try block. Similarly, the resulted set RS is also declared within the try block, whereas the connection object is defined outside the try block. So what is defined within the try block, that could be visible within the try block, and so will not be visible in the catch block. But whatever is outside the try block, it is also visible here. So what I can do is I can say statement stmt is equal to null, and then you have got result set rs is equal to null, and then in this case we will have to remove the declaration because they are already declared and we cannot have a duplicate declaration over here. So now we have our code in a good position, and you can see the compilation error goes from here. So this is the way how you must do. The most recent resource that you have acquired should be closed first, like result set should be closed first, then the statement should be closed first, and then the connection should be closed first. Or if you just choose to close the connection, technically it will close everything. So that's one thing. Now let's see if you have any doubts. Neil Chauhan, sir, to connect to MySQL database as root user, don't we need to add root user to the user's password also? Yes, we have added the root user's password. As you can see in my code itself, the password for root user is admin. You can see the username is root and the password is admin. This password I have entered while I was installing the MySQL server. You can even create your own new user, and then you can create the password for them as you like. So not necessary that you are bound to use the root user as well. So for example there is some issues in the production machine, and the production machine has to be the code that is running on the production machine has to be debugged and fixed by the developer. And because it's a real data and it cannot be created with the dummy values, sometimes this happens with the dummy values on the developer machine. Developer machine will have its own installation of MySQL server, but the production machine, which is actually running the code on the client side, is a different machine which is very, very secured. They don't want to even have you any sort of information about that particular machine, about the database, even what kind of database they are running. But in certain cases, the people who are on the on-site, they need to get connected, because sometimes the bug is not able to be recreated on the side of client. So they get the permission. Now when they get the permission, they don't get the permission which the real application is using with all the flexibilities. Rather they get a very limited permission. So they get a separate connection ID, that is user ID, with a password, and the administrator could restrict to whatever thing he wants. For example, if that is meant only for viewing the data, So it will make sure that you can only use the select query, you can fire the select query, and you cannot fire the insert query. Or rather, if you are allowed to fire the select and the insert but not the delete, he will choose only select and insert. He will also choose, if you are a developer, probably he will give you the right for select, insert and delete, but he may not give the right for deleting any tables. That is any kind of table manipulation or database manipulation, structure manipulation activity should be provided for you. So this depends. So there are so many things that you will come to learn when you really start working on some real good project and how it is done. So I think Neil Chauhan, that has that your question is answered. Then again another question by Neil Chauhan itself. Also, sir, if we want to execute multiple SQL queries, is it possible to write them together in one line of the code, or do we need to execute each query separately? As I can understand your question, you want to say that whether can we execute multiple queries in a single line. See guys, depends upon the type of the query. For example, this is a select query, right? This is a select query and it is going to return you a result set. So if you are firing more than one select query within the same line, that will mean that you must be in a position to have two result set object being collected, and that is not possible. So in that case, you should use select queries. I mean the queries written separately in separate lines. But there are more to it. If we come across, we will be discussing those things. Okay, so are you guys clear as of now? Whatever we have discussed. Any doubts so forth? Everything is okay? Okay. So these were the steps basically that we were we need to write when we try to create a connection and run a SQL statement or a query from our Java code using the JDBC. So can someone tell me why we are using this close statements inside a finally block and not within the try and the catch block? You can answer in the chat box. Why we are using this close statements, rs.close, stmt.close and con.close, every close statement within the finally block and not within the try and the catch block, either in the try or the catch block or both, or outside the try catch block. Piyush gets it correct, because finally always executes after the try and the catch block. So even if the try block throws an exception, so if there are 5 lines and the third line has thrown an exception, only third line will be after the third line, the third line will not be executed and the control goes to the catch block, right? So that means if I write the close statement say at the 6th line, that line in the try block, that line will not be executed. Similarly, if for any reason we don't have exception and we don't want an exception in fact, so in that case the try block succeeds normally and the catch block is never executed. In that case also, if we choose the catch block to be having the code that basically have the close statement, that will also not run. But finally something which is guaranteed from the JVM, that is going to run in any case, no matter what, whether the try block runs completely or it throws an exception, or whether the cache block is executed, any of the cache blocks is executed or not. Yeah, Ahmed Faraz also says the same thing. Finally, blocks executes even if the execution occurs. So you can be sure that all the inputs and the output streams are closed properly, regardless of whether the exception occurs or not. That's correct. So Ahmed Faraz and others, Rajdeep and Piyush and Anuj. My question is, what if I duplicate this close statements in both try block and all the cache blocks? Then that should also serve my purpose. What I mean to say is, if just if I want to give it a try, and I do not want to use the finally block, just in case I am like people are logging with different names and they are experimenting. I am also curious to experiment something. So what I want to do is, I want to have all this statement not within the finally block, but I will say I want it here, then again here, then again here, right? Forget about the compilation errors. We can always get rid of them. Will that work? Is that guaranteed that my resources are going to be closed in this case? Yeah, Java experts. Piyush says okay, yes, that will guarantee. That means you want to say that will guarantee that my all the closed statements will run successfully. Rajdeep says no. Why, Rajdeep? Why do you conclude this? Yeah, I can show the program. Just hold on for a second. Yeah, here you go. I have put all the closed statements in the try block and in all the cache blocks instead of the finally. Public static void main, Rajiv says. Oh, you mean to say you are worried about the compilation error, right? You are worried about the compilation error. So let me okay, that's okay. If I want to resolve the compilation error, I can go by two ways. One is either to handle the exception or to declare the exception. Let me say that I want to handle the exception. I am just saying that inside it I am again putting a try in the cache block, just like in the case of here in the finally. So instead of copying these statements, what I should have done is basically copied the whole try in the cache block itself. Control X, and let's get rid of this finally block itself, and then I put it here. Okay, I put it here, and the same thing here. Then is it now a guarantee that my resources will be closed in every possible conditions, every possible cases? These are the questions which are asked in the interviews and are sometimes one of the toughest questions. And the standard has changed. In fact, in our time, we were expecting from the people with at least 2 years of experiences, but now they know that you are coming through different channels of learning, like lots of tutor you get from outside with technology, courses that you join. So they will expect. Anuj says no. Why, Anuj? Ahmed Farah says if exception didn't happen, it will never close. If an exception didn't happen, it will never close. Then in that case, for that matter, Ahmed Faraz, I have also added the code in the main try block as well, where I am processing the result. Here also it is there. I have duplicated this code in the try block as well as all the catch blocks. You see, the first catch block is SQL exception. Here also I have replicated. The second is catch exception. There also I have replicated. People are guessing that it should work now. Completely removing finally block. Yes, I have the option to completely remove the finally block. And Piyush says no, we cannot guarantee in that case. And the same is the opinion of Anuj Razdan. But why? What could be the specific condition in which we cannot guarantee, or where it cannot? It can be said that even though we tried our best, the resources may remain still open. If there is an error, then exception, right, Deep? Okay, if there is an error, then exception. Then you have this thing written in the catch block, the close statements. So if you go to any of the exceptions block, there you will ultimately going to the control is going to meet this close resource statements. Auto closable interfaces are an addition with Java 7, I guess, and that is called as try with resources. So there you, within the try block itself, you have the parenthesis just like a method call, and you mention the resource like a statement or a result set or whatever. So in that case, you can go for the correction object, and that is auto closed. That is one thing. That is another way of doing it if you use that particular syntax. But that is different thing. Neil says, sir, might be possible if there is an exception encountered, then in that case it might not close even you put in try block. Yes, exactly. But what could be the situation? If there is an exception encountered, then it will move to the exception, the related exception block, and there also we have written the same code. Exception E handles all the edge cases, of course. So he says that it should be closed in all cases. Okay. Exception in the cache block might happen. Yeah. There you go. So as you can see, Piyush says that suppose we are running this code and we are in the try block, and from the try block, while processing say this statement, or even before, say for example, let me say while executing the query we get a exception. Now let's say we get exception over here, con.create statement. The connection could not be created, maybe because username is wrong, your password is wrong, your database name is wrong, your port number is wrong, or the database server itself is down. There could be many reasons you are not able to create the connection, right? So if this particular line gives an exception, then a statement object will not be created, because this create statement is going to return you the statement object. Similarly, the result object is not going to be created because it has to be acquired from the statement execute query, right? So these two objects are not created. Exception occurred here, and the control moves to this catch SQL exception. And when it comes to the catch SQL exception, it tries to close the result set and the statement first. It is not bothered about the connection object as of now. Connection object comes in the third place. So as soon as it meets the first line, result set is still null, and when it's null, you're trying to use a method to execute on it. So you will get a null pointer exception. It will come out of the try block, and it will come out of the try block, and then it will not enter this exception, but rather simply go outside all the catch blocks. And this is a possible case where if you do not put this close statement inside a finally block, you may end up with a situation where your resources are still remain open. So for example, connection object is still open. Or say for example, if connection is created, then the statement objects for that instance in the, if you get the error here, then the connection object is as you it's created, so it's there. You get the exception here in created statement. So from here onwards, you will those statements will remain open. Agree? Repeat it. Okay. So what I am saying is, it's a very typical condition. Say you are, I assume that this line executes. I had done a mistake in my previous statement. Let me say this line executes. The connection object is created. So the connection reference variable is pointing to a connection. But when we try to create a statement, for some reason the database server gets down at the same point of time. So the statement is not created. However, the connection is still open, or for whatever reason this create statement fails, right? Or even if this create statement succeeds, say for example your query has a problem, the query fails and your result set remains open. So ultimately, if all these lines are executed, let me assume that the instead of this I say students list, I have written a wrong table name. In that case, you will find that this statement basically do not execute because you have given a wrong name. So although connection object is created, statement object is created, but result set object is still pointing to null because execute query is only going to return a real result set object when this query succeeds. So result set object is still pointing to null. Now because of exception, it will go not to the next line, that is the while, but rather it will go to the catch SQL exception. And when it will go to the catch SQL exception, it has another try and catch block because all these statement code statement throws itself may throw the exceptions. So the first line that you close is result set dot close, and result set has not acquired any of the objects, so it is basically still pointing to the null, right guys? So it will throw an exception again, and when it throws an exception again, so these SQL exception and SQL exception were meant for the earlier try block. For this try block, you have got this catch block, so it will enter this catch block where SQL exception E is again cached, and then your connection and the statement object will remain open in that case. Agree? Or do you want me to try it visually using the debug? I can do that. This is one of the instances that I have given. So finally is only safe. There could be possibility of if anything else, I am not sure. Duplicate parameter E. Okay. Let me say EX. So if we want to see it, visually, let me put a debug point here. So debug is a very good tool in case if you want to figure out how the code works. So just instead of running another, I think compilation error is there, just let me remove it. The variable name should not be same, so I will just change it to ex, and then ex dot print extract trace and ex dot print extract trace. Okay, that's okay. So I have put a debug point just to show you visually what we have discussed so far. Let me say debug as instead of run as now, Java application. So the control will stop at class.for name here, because here I have put a debug point. So it will ask for the launch of debug perspective. I will say yes. You see, you can see the control coming on this line, and you can see the variables over here. Statement is pointing to null, result set is pointing to null, connection is pointing to null as of now. Once I say class.for name, this line is executed. Fn plus let me type F6. This line is executed. The driver manager registers the driver class, and here I am requesting for the connection object, and as soon as I do this, you see the connection object is initialized. The connection object which was still which was earlier pointing to null, it is initialized to an object, right? Then the next line executes Fn plus F6. See, the statement object is initialized. Now result set is still not initialized because it depends upon the success of this execute query function, which has got this statement which has got error with a wrong table name. So when we try to execute this particular query, you see result set is still null. Result set is still null, and the controls goes to the catch exception of SQL exception. There we are printing the extract trace. Very well. Now we are trying to close the resource as we planned. You see, this con is pointing to an object, statement is pointing to an object, but result set is pointing to null. And when I try to execute this line, I am trying to invoke the close method on a null pointer or null pointer. So I will get a null pointer exception again. The first exception was sequence syntax error exception, that this table doesn't exist. Now if I say Fn plus F6, see, I get a null pointer exception. So so those two connection objects which is created, I didn't get an opportunity to basically close them. The program just has quit. Okay, so that's the dangling pointer that is still over there. So yes, that will be corrected once if it is not pointed by some other program. But the connection object is something which could be used, which could be reused by some of the utility application. So the possibility is that the connection object is still referred by somewhere else, and if someone some other thread tries to get acquire of it, it may get the same connection object, or the connection object may not be available in that case. So that's the thread over here. Got it? See, Rajdeep, specifying the throw method, throw exception in the main method is not going to solve the problem. It's just going to declare that I am my code is not going to handle the problem. Let it the caller of the program take up the exception, and the caller of the program is basically the JVM. So JVM is going to shut down. So it won't make any change. Agreed? So then let's get back to the Java perspective. Before that, let me close this debug, terminate Java perspective, and then test connection. Let me get back to my old code. Let me change everything, and we are having this finally block intact. So I must write any of the statement close functionality in the finally block. So these are the things which are mostly also taken care at the time of code reviews. So if you do such mistake while you join the job, then people who review will have a very bad impression about you. They will understand that your knowledge is very very phony, it's not in depth. So make sure that you don't do such mistakes. That's what the advantage that you get when you try to learn a thing very very deeply. One piece of information, not too big, but you should learn it in much depth, so that you should be able to basically aware of everything that it possibly could have something that may go wrong. So in that case, when you even if you learn a new technology, then you are able to relate the things with whatever you have learned, and you also are well aware that what depth could possibly be required to when you claim that you know of this technology. So you should be in a position to understand this fact that it requires a lot of understanding. Just hold on guys for a second. जी अभी अस्सलाम वालेकुम। मैं एक्चुअली क्लास ले रहा हूँ सर, आप फर्स्ट फ्लोर पे आ जाएंगे, ले लेंगे आपसे। हाई 20 है जी हाँ, घर से काम करना पड़ रहा है ना मुझे, तो मैं क्लास ले रहा हूँ अभी तो। नहीं I20 लास्ट पे जो उनका सब्जी वाली आंटी का जो वो है ना, उनके पास फर्स्ट फ्लोर पे। ये okay, so far so good, everything is okay. Okay, so let's try a few more things. Okay, try to run this code first, and you have got 2 days. Try to do any experiment that you like with this code, and make sure that whatever you do, you preserve it, because I will ask you a lot of things. I will ask you to mail the code to one of the IDs that I will provide, not on my official ID, but the ID I will provide, you will mail it over there. I will also ask you for the screenshots, and in the Viva I will also basically see you face to face, each one of you, and ask you to solve the problem right at the time when you are logged in with me. So try to experiment with it, and we will meet on Monday. So is there any issue of the time? Is the time 3:30 okay for everyone, or do you want some changes or something? The 3:30 time is okay, right? Okay, so we'll keep on sticking to this time 3:30 normally, and if for some reason if I need to change it, maximum I will change for 4 o'clock. Okay, so thank you guys, you can log off for today. I will share the recording.